This is Holy Week. But what's so holy about Holy Week? Does it still matter for me today? Let's face it, we have a lot on our plates. We have business to attend to, children to take care of, our children's activities to manage and attend, and a myriad of other responsibilities that we probably have a hard time managing on their own without the intrusion of Holy Week. So what's the big deal? Holy Week is holy because of the one we focus on this week. You see, this is more than just a good week for spring break, which, of course, there's nothing wrong with. Spring break is a very good thing. But the focus of this week is, of course, more than that. The focus of this week is on the Lord of life, the God of all creation, coming down to his creation, taking on flesh and fulfilling the plan to save you and all creation from sin, death, and everlasting condemnation. This is where God's plan of salvation was taking Jesus. 3 times in the Gospels, Jesus affirms that it is necessary that he suffer, die, and rise on the 3rd day. That is how God will claim you back from sin and death. This is how God will pardon, cleanse, and forgive you, so that you may be his own, as Luther says, and live under him in his kingdom, and serve him in everlasting righteousness, innocence, and blessedness. All because God fulfilled his promise to send his Son. And God in Christ took on flesh and triumphantly entered into Jerusalem on a donkey, to the laud and triumphal cheers and cries of his people who proclaimed Hosanna, crying out that the King had come to save them, the one long foretold, who would bring peace and salvation. And Jesus headed to the cross to do just that. God has made me his own, because the night Jesus was betrayed, he instituted a life-giving meal that continues to feed and to forgive as the blessings of his cross and resurrection come to me in his body and his blood, in, with, and under the bread and the wine of his supper. Holy Week is so vital because I'm reminded that Good Friday is good, not because death is good, because it's most certainly not. Death is not a part of God's good creation, but rather a result of sin. But the death of God in Christ is good because, as Isaiah 53:5 reminds me, but he was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities. Upon him was the chastisement that brought us peace, and with his wounds we are healed. The early church father, Melito of Sardis, living and writing in the 2nd century AD, famously says this of the death of Jesus: "He who hung the earth in place is hanged. He who fixed the heavens in place is fixed in place. He who made all things fast is made fast on the tree. The Master is insulted. God is murdered." That's the reality of Good Friday. And what's the effect? Melito goes on to say toward the end of his homily, where he's making the point that Jesus is the fulfillment of the Passover, he says, "So come, all families of human beings who are defiled by sins, and receive remission of sins. For I, Christ, am your remission. I am the Passover of salvation. I am the Lamb sacrificed for your sake. I am your ransom. I am your life. I am your resurrection. I am your light. I am your salvation. I am your King." What powerful words that get to the heart of the events of Holy Week. And our response? Not only do we believe in, trust, and follow our crucified and risen Lord, but in the words of the famous hymn writer Isaac Watts, love so amazing, and that's the cross, so divine, demands my soul, my life, my all. I encourage you then, as Holy Week services commence this week, to find yourself in worship, to join the fellow redeemed at the congregation you're a part of or a member of, to hear again that gospel message of what God has done for us in Christ and how he's made us his own. What else could compare to that? That's our Thursday theological thought for this week. Blessed Holy Week and Easter.